What's going on, everyone? This is Squids. How's everyone doing? Today we got our first, well, not technically the first, but pretty much the first taste of winter 2023, and to see what we have coming for us in this near future here in the next week or so, because there's a lot, and most of them are going to be this weekend. However, I really wanted to talk about this one because from watching the trailers earlier on this year, it really piqued my interest, and that would be Ningen Fushin Adventures Who Don't Believe in Humanity Will Save the World. And just from that first episode, I can tell you this is probably going to be a promising one. I was very thankful it wasn't an isekai, because this season has so many isekais, and some are good, don't get me wrong. I mean, a couple of my favorites are isekais, as you guys know, like Ray Zero and Mishuko Tensei, but man, does the isekai genre get old so quickly. But with that being said, let's just jump into this episode here and go from there. So, right from the very start, we get a scene where it kind of shows I want to say our MC, because that's the way they're portraying him, even though I feel like all four of them are kind of going to be, but we get our MC Nick, and he's talking about his adventures with his group called Masters of War, which they're quote-unquote skilled adventurer group. Come to find out, within like the first, I don't know, 5 minutes, he gets fired, because apparently he isn't the adventurer type, even though he was raised in that group. But they're like, nah, he just ain't cut out to be. So he's kind of groping and, whining and everything. And we come to find out he's traded his life of adventure for Idol. He is now a big Idol fan for this Idol group, and her name is Agate, to be specific. She does the classic sad boy in the park. She goes, "You look sad," and he just kind of nudges her off, and she's like, "Well, I got a show tomorrow. You should come." And he goes, and he gets obsessed. Come to find out that, I guess, to support your favorite Oshis or your idols, you have to get money. So he's kind of at a loss. He goes to the guild only to have absolutely zero luck. He can't even freaking figure out, how to even approach people to get into a guild. So that's a good problem. So at the end of the day, he goes to the bar and sits at a table, orders a beer, and he's by himself, and the waitress kind of gives this perspective of like, oh, by the way, you're going to have to sit with some other people because you're the only loser loner at this table. So he sits down, or they sit down with him, and we see the three characters specifically. One looks like a mage, one looks like a cleric, and then the other one definitely looks like a fighter, because she's got that, dragon claws, dragon hands. And we don't know much about him, but he's assessing everything and smelling and kind of just looking off of their vibes, almost as if he's like a rogue-esque type character, which is kind of neat. Considering the fact, I guess, in that first scene, he says he's the swashbuckler. So, yes. And right after that, they all have a drink, and they're kind of thinking the same thing, like, screw everybody. And they chug their beers, plop them down, say it all together. And then we kind of go into everybody's like backstory. Now, the first character we get introduced to is Tiana, and that is the mage. You see her at her academy mastering lightning magic, which is very high class, like amazing skill. And the teachers appraise her. We find out she's going to this cafe to go visit her fiance, and she's about to tell him all the good news. And it comes to find out that he's with another chick, because she hates the fact that she's better than him at everything, and it just gets to his ego and everything. So he just drops her, and she's left alone. Moves to a new town looking for jobs. Can't find jobs. Gets into horse gambling, and she went broke because of it. And here we are. Which, they all agree with, is pretty sad and everything. And then we get on to Zem, who is the priest slash cleric of this village, who is just kind of collecting herbs for his medicinal healing things. And there's this little girl named Muriel, who drops off herbs for him, and he pays her. he's in his cottage later at that night, and she collects more for him. He's like, well, you're getting here later. What's going on? And she's like, look, let's cut this crap. Let's get down to business. And he's like, whoa, I'm a priest. I'm devoted. And for once, the girl's the one that cried wolf. And it was kind of foreseeable, but the next day she takes all the coins he gave her and acts like he, paid her for sex and everything, which leads him to jail for like 3 months. And he gets out, and obviously he's been exiled, so everybody's throwing crap at him, and he just looks really rough. But the one thing you have to give this show so far is like the artwork, and especially the character designs are they're palatable, defined, and really smooth looking, and I like that a lot about character designs. So once he's been tortured and everything, he gets to this village and he sees a lady with some lower back problems, and he heals her up, which I'm assuming he did some hanky panky with her, healed her up. The next morning she's like, you could stay a little longer if you need to, but you should really go to the next town and find some people to start a party with, because you have these healing powers, and just because something happened doesn't mean that you can't change your ways, which is really neat. And we've only got one character left, and that would be Kuran, and that is the dragon girl. And honestly, we don't get to see too much about her, except for the fact that, quote unquote, her party stole something from her. We don't know what, but however, she is very plastered that night, and after the night ends, they end up waking up. Well, Nick wakes up, and he doesn't know where he's at, but it turns out we are in Tiana's, I guess, flat. There's not much in there, and he's passed out upside down in a chair. Tiana's on the floor, and and Zem's on the ground, hunched in a ball. And of course, Kuran's just sprawled out, legs out, birds all over her, but nobody's sleeping in the bed. That's the best part about this. And so they're all getting ready to leave, because they all were drunk the night before, until Nick comes up with this conclusion where he's like, how am I going to support Agate if I don't have any money? So he's like, do the things we love mean so little to us that we wouldn't want to do all these things just to do that? And he comes up with the bright idea, and he's like, hey, let's just form a party. And with that being said, we get our outro with the narrator saying they're going to save the world in the future, but that's not for a while yet. And that's the first episode. Honestly, I thought it was pretty dang good, especially for just being an intro episode to the world. We got the characters' backstories right off the bat, and kind of their personalities and personas of what they're driving to be. The animation's on par. And I know it's based off a light novel, but I believe the studio is Geek Toys, which I'm trying to think if they've done really anything on the top of my head I can think of. I think they did like Date Alive and maybe Plunder, and I did enjoy Plunder, so I mean, I'm not gonna whine about it. But yeah, that's pretty much the evaluation episode 1. I'm very much looking forward to see where this goes, and if it continues going well, we'll just keep chatting about it on the channel. And with that being said, I cannot wait to cover Nagatoro and a couple others this season, and we're gonna have a good winter 2023. So everybody, I hope you have a good day, night, morning, whatever it is, and this has been Squids on the Down Low. Peace.